Hi, everybody. I am 25 weeks today, and I am here to talk to you about 24 weeks pregnancy. Viability week was, for the most part, really, really good. I'm going to try and go things quickly because I have kind of something else on my mind that I wanted to talk about and start kind of bringing to light. So symptoms-wise, there wasn't a whole lot new until later in the week. Later in the week, I started waking up in the morning with a stuffy nose, and I wasn't sure if that was pregnancy related or if that was weather related because our weather has just been all over the place. It's been raining, it's been sunny, it's been nice, it's been cold, it's been windy, it's been nuts. I wasn't sure what it was because of, so I wasn't too set on it being a pregnancy symptom, but that's been happening. And then when I go to like blow my nose in the morning and try and clear up that stuffiness, mostly it's like bloody. It's not a bloody nose. There's definitely like blood in my vessel from the vessels and stuff in my nose. So I've started using a saline spray. I'm also definitely getting more rib pain. Bubba loves to be tucked right up into my right ribs, or he likes to lay with his back like molded against the bottom of my belly. So that's been pretty fun to not just to watch, but to feel and feel how different motions affect your breath differently. That's an incredible feeling. And I don't think I necessarily correlated how things would have affected breath before being pregnant. So before being pregnant, I always just assumed that no matter what, if baby was really high, you would have a really hard time breathing. It would feel weird, shortness of breath, whatever. And if baby was really low, it wouldn't necessarily affect your breathing. But that's not totally true. So sometimes when he's rolling around or shifting his weight down low, it still affects my breath and how I'm breathing and the depth of breath that I can get when he's moving down low. So that was something that I just totally didn't expect. Because of the stuffy nose, sleep has been a little bit weird. I got a pregnancy pillow, and pregnancy pillow is gold. And I got the big giant U-shaped one because I'm a side sleeper, but I flip over sides during the night. So I knew having like the Snuggle just wouldn't work for me because I would have to turn with the whole pillow, and that would be like nearly impossible, especially moving forward as my tummy gets bigger. And that thing is like a nest of comfort. It's amazing. I love it. Naps are also a big friend of mine again. We are on great terms, and me and Naps are just in love with each other. That's pretty much it physically. Emotionally, it's been a pretty easy week until I started getting some kind of mental games, and I'll talk about that in a minute. TMI, I have been having quite a bit of colostrum, and I've obviously mentioned this week after week for the last few weeks here, but I finally emailed my midwife and I said, hey, some days it's actually getting to the point where I feel very full and sometimes it's kind of sore. Can I express any safely? And she said, as long as you're not getting any kind of tightening or cramping, go ahead and at least express a little bit just to relieve the soreness. So I bought a hand pump and I bought some freezer bags. I don't expect to get anything major, but I figured I might as well save it. So I used it for the first time today actually and I just pumped for like 2 minutes because I did not want to start any contractions or anything, and ended up getting about 10 milliliters, and so I just put them into, I have some leftover syringes from IVF, and so I put them into 1 milliliter syringes in there in the freezer, figuring might be good to have on hand. Never know. that is it for TMI. Otherwise, we're focusing a lot right now on getting the house ready. The rocker is now shifted from my son's room into this room, which is baby's room. It is Zelda themed, which I'll do a tour, but it's also partially going to be used as playroom. So, as I mentioned, later in this week, it wasn't such an easy week, and there's a couple reasons for that. One being a friend of mine, a mom friend of mine, passed away on Thursday night, Friday morning. You know, she was not older. There were no health issues. It was very unexpected, and she's leaving behind a 6-year-old daughter and a husband. It's just been kind of a rough weekend because of that. But it's also been a little bit rough because towards the end of the week, after our appointment, my doctor had asked if we had any questions or any concerns or anything like that. And at that point, I really didn't. But she had mentioned that we were going to have another ultrasound at 28 weeks, which I knew, but that they would likely want to see us in again at 32 weeks to measure his growth because of the abnormal test results that we had gotten. And I didn't know about the one at 32 weeks that they would want to do. Nobody had mentioned that to me before. So I hadn't realized that they'd want to do another one. And originally, I had wanted to do one, maybe 2 ultrasounds since we had one so early on. I kind of wanted to do the one at midway through the 18-ish week one. And I didn't want to do any more than that. And then we saw that my placenta was slightly low-lying, and of course that's risk of hemorrhaging. They said 28 weeks, we want to make sure that your placenta has moved up. And if it's going to show me that we're not going to for sure hemorrhage, I'm okay with a short extra ultrasound. I did talk a little bit about that. It's a possibility that there is a higher correlation between that blood work being abnormal and heightened risk of preeclampsia, premature placental decay, IUGR. So the way in which it was mentioned, I kind of figured it just wasn't that big of a risk. And then as I was thinking about things more through the week, of course, the mental games started. And I kept thinking, nothing has been wrong. So does that mean that I am officially at higher risk for these things because he didn't have a neural tube defect? And because everything has been going well. And then I also started thinking about my fundal height measurements at 18 weeks? No, at 16 weeks, I was measuring 21 weeks, which was way ahead. And then at 21 weeks, I was measuring 23 weeks, which was 2 weeks ahead. And then at last week, at 24 weeks, I was measuring 25 weeks. So it was still ahead, but it's kind of evening out. So then I was thinking, so is he not growing much? Because his measurements were perfectly on, except he had kind of a chunky belly at 18 weeks. So does that mean he's not growing enough? Does that mean he's not big enough? Which I hadn't worried about until later on last week, because I can feel that he is growing. I can feel that he is getting heavier and he is getting stronger. But just the mix of having that brought up again, and it's not like she brought it up in such a way that it necessarily made me worry, but just the fact that it was brought up again, and then thinking about my fundal height measurements kind of evening out had me a little bit worried. So I emailed my doctor and asked her if she could shed some light on what the likelihood of having IUGR, preeclampsia, placental decay come up as an issue, knowing that my levels were off. So I just got that email back today, and she said it's somewhere between 10 and 20%, and there's realistically not a whole lot I can do. I did join an IUGR parents group. I've kind of asked around them, and what their doctors have said might help, but unfortunately they don't know a whole lot about IUGR. So it's all kind of guesswork at this point. There's a couple things that may help and won't hurt, so I am doing those high protein diets, not doing anything super strenuous. A lot of people get put on bed rest, some people don't. There's a whole lot of, like, we don't know if that helps at all in there. Some people are prescribed like a baby aspirin to help prevent calcifications in the placenta, but I won't do that without a doctor's okay. So we'll know more at the 28-week ultrasound about his specific growth. Part of me wonders if I should, at least kind of prepare a little bit for not being able to have a home birth and not being able to necessarily have exactly, where I want to be and that kind of thing. So we are going to pre-register at the hospital just in case, and we are going to take one of the hospital's birth classes along with the birth class that we have signed up for, just in case, so that we know their policies and procedures and aren't caught off guard. But at this very moment, we are still planning on home birth and natural birth, and higher percent than I was hoping that something might go wrong, but it is still a very high chance that nothing will go wrong. So I am very hopeful that nothing will go wrong, and my husband's mom said that she had some abnormally high blood work with him as well, so it might just be something in the male species of that family. I don't know. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for, but it is in the back of my mind, and it is something that I am a little bit worried about, but knowing that there's 80 to 90% chance that it won't necessarily turn into anything is definitely comforting. So I think I'm just gonna keep going as if nothing's going to happen and keep preparing for our natural home birth, and just kind of keep it in the back of my mind as a just in case. But everything's getting really exciting. We're really close to the third trimester, and anyway, I know that was rambly. I'm sorry. If you have any experience with IUGR or premature placental decay, please feel free to let me know in the comments below. Please feel free to ask any questions, and I will try and answer them. Otherwise, I will talk to you guys later for my 26-week vlog, and I will put in pictures from last week's vlog and this week. So I'll talk to you later.